Number 1, it's an addiction. Straight to it, the most important reason of all. You don't drink because you enjoy alcohol, because it tastes nice, because it relaxes you. None of that. The first time you ever had a drink, you could hardly swallow it. That stuff is nasty. The sad thing is that you drink because the ethanol in booze is an addictive substance. A drug. 2, your freedom is the most valuable thing. Go to a dictionary and look up the opposite nouns to freedom. Slavery, bondage, and servitude are some of the words that you will find, all perfectly describing the life of a person forced to pay through the nose for the privilege of consuming a toxic industrial chemical called ethanol. Number 3, you will never achieve your full potential in life. You will only get one life. Wouldn't you rather live it to the fullest, to the best of your abilities? Or are you simply happy to limp along, bogged down by a foul-tasting poison? Number 4, you envy non-drinkers. Just like smokers envy non-smokers and cocaine addicts envy people who don't snort cocaine. They are free and get to live their lives to the fullest. They're not hooked to an absurdly expensive, foul-tasting, repackaged antifreeze. You'd have to be blind to not envy them, actually. And I say, if you can't beat them, join them. 5, you know you want it. You know that given the free choice to drink or not drink, you would be more than happy to not drink. As much as you try to rationalize your drinking, you know it's all excuses. You want it like you want nothing else. You're just afraid to stop. And just before we get into the 6th reason, if you click the link in the description, there's a link to a brand new free video that shows you all about the root cause of 99% of all drinking problems. All about something called the dark conditioning. And that video will explain exactly how you can get immediate control of your drinking in a fast and easy way using my breakthrough method, all without things like AA, willpower, rehabs, medication, therapy, and so on. I've worked with people from NASA, PayPal, Forbes, and Google, and in short, my new method works. So please click the link in the description to get access to that video right now. Number 6, your loved ones want you to stop. Just like you would much rather be a non-drinker, so do all the other people in your life who love you. They would much rather you join the ranks of the free and happy non-drinkers, rather than live the unfulfilled life of a slave. Don't get me wrong, you have to do it for yourself before anybody else. But stopping will also bring immense joy to your loved ones. The 7th reason is that you will actually only feel sorry for drinkers after stopping. Because if you're worried that you'll envy drinkers after you give up, I do have news for you. You won't. On the contrary, you will feel sorry that they still can't see booze for what it really is. An addictive poison. Believe me, when you stop drinking alcohol, they will also secretly wish that they could be like you. 8th reason is feeling guilty sucks. There are few things worse in life than the feeling of guilt. Nature did it that way for a reason. To force us on the straight and narrow. The guilt we feel after drinking is not so much because we are letting our loved ones down, but it's because we're betraying ourselves. Number 9, clarity is great. One of the biggest changes in your life will be the clarity and insights that you will regain. Alcohol intoxication is a big lie, a distortion lens. Getting rid of that distortion will allow you to honestly take stock of your situation and start taking the necessary actions to lead a happy, fulfilling life. 10, you will pass away much younger to be precise. According to the CDC, people who die from alcohol-related causes do so on average 26 years younger. These 26 years compared to only 10 years smokers lose on average. So on this metric, alcohol is even more lethal than cigarettes. 11, your death is also far more likely to be violent. We know that alcohol brings a wrecking ball to your health. We will come to that shortly in more detail, but drinking is also linked to an increased risk of dying prematurely from all sorts of violent and unpleasant deaths. These include suicides, poisoning, falls, motor vehicle accidents, and even homicides. Reason 12, isn't it amazing to be able to drive at all times? How nice and smug do non-drinkers feel on a Saturday night? Ask me, I'm the first to tell you. Everybody else is paying $50 or $100 for a taxi home, and we non-drinkers just drive away at our own time in our own car. 13th reason, acetaldehyde. Believe it or not, ethanol is not the most toxic part of drinking, not even close. The problem is that when ethanol enters the liver, it's metabolized to a highly toxic molecule called acetaldehyde. And though acetaldehyde doesn't stay in our system for long, it's enough to cause serious damage. Reason 14, your liver. The first place acetaldehyde attacks is the liver. Over the years, the constant attack by acetaldehyde leads to various phases of alcoholic liver disease. These start off with a condition called fatty liver. which affects most heavy drinkers. In later stages, this can progress to full-blown cirrhosis of the liver. At 15, your pancreas. The second organ acetaldehyde attacks is your pancreas. Like with the liver, chronic alcohol consumption can lead to a swelling of the pancreas called pancreatitis. Aside from being potentially dangerous, pancreatitis can also be excruciatingly painful. I'm talking pain like you can't even begin to imagine. Pain that you wouldn't even believe human beings can bear. 16. Booze eats away at your brain. And I'm being quite literal here. Over a span of decades, heavy drinking results in a notable loss of brain mass. The empty cavities inside your brain, the so-called ventricles, literally expand in size as the brain cells die off. 17. Lowering your cognitive abilities. You can't keep on losing brain cells and operate at the same level as before. Predictably, heavy drinkers perform worse than non-drinkers on a wide range of neuropsychological tests. These include tests on memory, concentration, and decision-making, amongst many others. All this has tangible implications for your everyday functioning. Number 18. It ages your skin. After cigarette smoking and excessive sun exposure, heavy drinking is one of the most important lifestyle factors that can prematurely age your skin. And it's also completely preventable. Scientists don't understand exactly how alcohol damages the skin, but they suspect it's a combination of acetaldehyde toxicity and free radical generation. 19. It damages your heart. Contrary to what you might have heard in the evening news, red wine is not good for your heart. And even if it were, red wine is only a tiny fraction of all the alcohol consumed. Ethanol, regardless of if it comes from red wine, vodka, or an alcohol pop, is toxic for the heart. In certain cases, heavy drinkers can develop alcoholic cardiomyopathy, a nasty disease where the heart muscles literally stretch out, unable to function normally. At 20, it raises blood pressure. A corollary of alcohol's negative impact on the heart is that it raises your blood pressure. In the beginning, this happens temporarily after each drink. But over time, your body loses the ability to cope with ethanol, and your blood pressure becomes permanently elevated. High blood pressure is called the silent killer, and with good reason. It often has no overt symptoms, but dramatically increases the risk of premature death. At 21, it increases your risk of stroke. One of the nastiest consequences of high blood pressure is a significantly elevated risk of getting a stroke. Well over 10% of strokes in the general population are thought to be alcohol-related. Common outcomes of a stroke include paralysis and death. At 22, it decreases fertility. If you're drinking and trying or want to start trying for a baby, I have bad news for you. Booze harms the fertility of both men and women. For women, the effect can be dramatic. Those who drink heavily have around a third of a chance to become pregnant compared to non-drinkers. Men's fertility is affected through a combination of sperm changes and sexual dysfunction. 23. It raises your risk of oral cavity, pharynx, and larynx cancer. Alcohol is a known carcinogen. Over time, it can lead to cancerous changes in a variety of cells in the human body. And the first cells it comes into contact are those in the mouth and throat. Heavy drinkers have a 10 to 15% higher chance of developing these compared to non-drinkers. 24. It raises the risk of breast cancer. One of the tissues to suffer the most from alcohol are the female breasts. Scientists now understand that every single drink a woman consumes increases her lifetime risk of breast cancer. There is no such thing as a threshold value for drinking to increase the risk. It creeps up from the very first drink. And heavy drinkers increase their risk of breast cancer by around 60%. 25, and loads of other cancers. Again, ethanol is a proven carcinogen. The more you ingest, the more you risk developing cancers all over the body. According to the National Cancer Institute, heavy drinkers double their risk of getting liver cancer and increase their risk of colorectal cancer by up to 1.5-fold. There is also some evidence that alcohol is linked to melanoma, prostate, and pancreatic cancer. 26, you will lose excess weight. Alcohol consumption is directly linked to weight gain. This is because most people don't realize how calorie-rich alcoholic beverages actually are. Research suggests that after white bread and sweets, alcohol consumption is the third source of calorie intake in the US. But because these are empty calories without any nutritional value, they will soon leave you feeling hungry again. Men are especially prone to this weight gain compared to women. The good news is that once you stop drinking, you can expect to start losing weight. 27, you'll restore your gut health. One of the first stops along ethanol's destructive tour of our body is the gastrointestinal tract. This is home to trillions of microorganisms that collectively make up the so-called gut microbiota, and they are crucial to digestion. Upsetting this microbiota with alcohol can lead to digestive problems, leaky gut syndrome, inflammation, and even autoimmune diseases. At 28, alcohol is linked to an unhealthy lifestyle. Deep down, we all know what we should be doing as part of a healthy lifestyle. Eat wholesome, unprocessed food, avoid junk, exercise, and sleep well. Think how much less likely you are to be doing any of those things while you're drinking alcohol. Like really, when was the last time you hit the gym after a couple of pints? When was the last time that you were drunk and felt like eating something nutritious? Reason 29, drinking wrecks your sleep. Now we did mention sleep earlier, and it really is incredible how frequently overlooked this aspect of drinking can be. But the numbers don't lie. As many as 3/4 of heavy drinkers have persistent sleep problems. Usually, these are interrupted sleep or difficulty falling asleep without drinking. 30, the drinks are getting worse and worse. Ethanol is nasty enough as it is. But do you have any idea what other junk they put in, for example, an alcopop drink? This stuff would have been the science fiction of chemistry a few decades ago. But now people drink this garbage like it's water. Reason 31, alcohol destroys marriages. Sociologists and psychologists have known for decades that alcohol actually destroys relationships, including the most important relationship most people will ever form, their marriage. Alcohol and drug abuse are actually two of the leading causes of divorce in the United States. Reason 32, your children are likely to pick up on your habit. If not for your own life, then do it for your children. Spare them from a lifetime of slavery to the bottle. Sociological studies find that children who come from a family of alcohol abusers are far more likely to develop addiction problems later in their own life. 33, your children are starting off with a massive handicap. Again, sociologists have known for a long time that children who come from alcohol abusing families are much more likely to end up with all sorts of unwelcome outcomes. These include mental illness, suicide, becoming the victim of violence, or being incarcerated. 34. Socializing while sober is real. When you socialize drunk, everything is distorted, including your perceptions of other people and how they make you feel. Don't sell yourself short. Start socializing sober, and very soon, your understanding of companionship and friendship will be completely different. At 35, sober socializing leads to meaningful friendships. Drinkers do tend to flock together for one fundamental reason. They all drink. Other than that, they can have very little in common, sometimes even nothing at all. After you're sober, you'll be able to pursue meaningful relationships with people that really are right for you. And you will be amazed how quickly your former drinking buddies may end up dropping off from your life. 36. Sober socializing takes place in higher caliber venues. For drinkers, their choice of venue is determined primarily by the availability and price of drinks. Talk about a shabby criterion if there was one. When you no longer need to drink, you will naturally drift to places with a higher quality of people, entertainment, and aesthetics. In a nutshell, you'll upgrade the quality of your social experience. 37. No more embarrassments. Pause this video and try to remember how many times you've embarrassed yourself whilst drunk. For me, it was countless times. How many times have you opened your mouth and said a completely inappropriate thing? How many stupid and regrettable things have we all done that make us cringe the morning after? How something that makes you act so stupid can be called a social lubricant is beyond me. At 38, no more forgotten nights. Now, I asked you to remember your embarrassing moments whilst drunk, but that might have been too much to ask. One of the most unpleasant side effects of alcohol is how it wipes out your memory, the recollection of anything that happened whilst you were drunk. How awesome will it be to wake up on a Saturday morning perfectly rested without a hangover and be able to recall every single conversation and event from the previous night? 39, your socializing will become more selective. When you're drinking, more often than not, you go out just as an excuse to have a drink. You might not necessarily have wanted to go out in the first place, but after you sober up, you will paradoxically find that A, the quality of your social life improves, while B, the time you spend outside the house might actually end up going down. You go out less, but you go out when you truly want to go out to higher quality venues and a higher quality social circle. 40, do you really think alcohol relaxes you? Think again. Alcohol numbs your anxiety for a few minutes, sure, but the effect is only temporary and comes at a great cost. Over time, our brain adapts to the presence of alcohol and we need it to simply feel normal, which is part of the reason anxiety disorders are so common amongst drinkers. And long-term drinkers hate being in public without a glass in their hand. 41, let's talk about depression. Approximately 30% of people with clinical depression are drinking or have a history of heavy drinking. Part of it is because alcohol messes up your brain circuits so much. But we're only on number number 41 of our 52-point list, and it should be abundantly clear by now, drinkers have a lot to be sad about. 42. Drinking ages your skin. After smoking and sun exposure, alcohol consumption is one of the most important and fully preventable lifestyle factors that can lead to premature aging of the skin. In one sentence, drinking will make you look older than you really are. Studies with genetically identical twins find that those who drink can look up to 2 years older compared to their non-drinking siblings. 43. It wrecks your face. Scientists now understand that drinking attacks specific parts of the face, and it's these changes that are partly responsible for the perceived aging effect. Compared to non-drinkers, moderate drinkers tend to have more puffy under eyes and lose volume in their cheek region. Heavy drinkers will suffer far more extensive damage over most of the entire face. All of these changes will leave them looking older and less attractive. 44. You hate taxes. Ethanol in beverages is one of the biggest scams ever. Here you have a mass-produced industrial product that's manufactured in the billions of liters. This stuff normally sells for pennies a gallon, but when it's for human consumption, the government taxes the living daylights out of it. 45. Welcome to a lifetime of taxes. Depending on what kinds of beverage you consume and at what quantities, you could end up paying over $100,000 to $200,000 on booze. That's over the course of your lifetime, and most of it will be taxes. 46. A lifetime of no savings. This is money that could be accruing interest in investments. Even at only 2 or 3% interest rate, over a couple of decades, you could end up with an extra $10,000 or $20,000 just through interest alone, plus the hundreds of thousands of dollars that you didn't spend on drinking. Number 47. Alcohol destroys your productivity. The purchase price of alcohol is actually only a small part of the total cost. Even more important is the damage to your productivity. This is mostly due to poor performance from hangovers or other alcohol-related health problems. And as I mentioned earlier, alcohol negatively affects a wide range of cognitive abilities that are crucial to professional success. 48. Your career. Your chances of having a successful career, getting promoted, or running a successful business diminish steadily with every drink. Actually, your chance of even being employed goes down the more you drink. In the US, alcohol and drug abuse are a leading cause of unemployment. The rates of unemployment among people attending alcohol treatment programs is staggeringly high. 49. Lost hangover days. A day after a heavy night of drinking is usually a lost day. One that we just consign to the dustbin of history, to use a famous phrase. Even if you only get hungover once a week, that will add up to several hundred or even thousands of lost days over the course of a lifetime. 50. You want a second chance at life. It is difficult to overstate just how happy, energetic, and hopeful you will feel after you stop drinking. You will feel like you get a second chance at life, and you will be forever grateful that you stopped. Number 51 is setting an example to your loved ones. If there are other people who also drink in your life, give them the best gift in the world, one that no amount of money could ever buy. Give them a real-life example of how quickly things can change and how amazing life can be when you're sober. And at 52, it's a crowning achievement. If you stop drinking, I promise you that it will not only change your life, but it will also be one of the best things you've ever done and something that you will be proud of. It will be right up there with any personal, professional, or family achievement, a constant source of personal satisfaction and pride. It'll be one for the ages. Click the video on the screen now to learn how David stopped drinking for 11 months.